Well, hello to all you warm people at home.
Oh, is it cold over there?
It's getting a little chilly,
Wow.
but we're doing okay.
There's a lot of heat coming off the stage, man.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So I'm here on stage, as a matter of fact, side of the stage at this packed Oracle Park place, and people are having a really good time. I was thinking of doing this from a kayak in McCovey Cove, but people advised me wouldn't be a good idea, so I'm here on stage instead. Tell us about that first
Well,
set, David.
well, the cameras have been showing us all over the place. We've seen a lot of shots of people dancing on the field, and we've seen some drone shots from the very far away of McCovey Cove and stuff. And of course, the action on stage has been spectacular. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, they hit the ground running with that Now Fade Away. It just went on and on and on before they even bothered to start singing. Then Shakedown Street, Cold Rain and Snow, Ramble on Rose, Brown Eyed Women, New Speedway Boogie, and Wharf Rat. Lovely placement of Wharf Rat in the first set there, and ended with Don't Ease Me In. I'm sitting here in the comfort of my living room enjoying the daylights out of Nugs Net's fabulous video and audio feed. And I have a couple of novices with me who are new to this stuff, and they're getting it in a major way. So it's a very pleasant evening here at home, thanks to Nugs.net.
Yeah, well, I'm not complaining about where I am either. And I got to tell you, you know, being here in San Francisco for this 2.5 more shows to go, this thing is coming to a close. But these guys can be so proud of what they've done. And we're really happy with what we've gotten to do here on Nugs.net. We've been bringing you these shows in incredible visuals and oral splendor as well.
It's just been such a delight to do this. We're wrapping up. We've done 3 tours this way, doing these interviews, and we started out doing them live, which was a sort of technical nightmare at times and kind of fraught and uptight a little bit. And it just got easier and easier, and then we got better at it. And this year, we pre-recorded all of them, which makes this so much more manageable. We should mention Jacob Lima, who was with us at the beginning, left us for a while, but came back, and he's doing these last shows with us, and
Right.
he's done a wonderful job. It's been all the people at Nugs have been a treat to work with, I gotta say, and we've
Yep.
gotten to talk to so many wonderful people.
And boy, the last three, they really need no introduction, so we won't give them much of one. Just tell you before we go, do check out nugs.net if you're watching this on the free preview. Go to nugs.net. You will find out all the stuff you can get, including every show from this tour, visually, orally, all that. And you can go deep into an amazing archive of live music on nugs.net.
Yeah, from everything from Bruce Springsteen to Dead and Company and lots of stuff in between. And also, by the way, the entire there's a playlist on the Nugsnet YouTube channel. There's a playlist of all of these dead air interviews going back to the beginning several years ago in reverse chronological order. So if you want to catch up on the ones you might have missed, please join us there. It's been again a real treat to do these things. And let's go ahead and introduce our today's player.
Yeah, I don't think we'll just go right to the interview. People will recognize him very
Enough
quickly.
said.
So let's go. And we will see you again tomorrow night from right here
I'll
on
be
Multiple.
there.
That's right. Looking forward to that, man. Good night, everybody.
Well, in this third and we presume final season of Dead Air, we've done so many wonderful interviews, but we've only had one repeat customer because who doesn't love talking to this guy? It's John Mayer.
Thank you.
Again.
I was talking to you guys too. And wow, what a length of shows and experiences that have taken place in between the last time we talked and now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess yes, that's right. You were our first interview.
Yeah.
And you're going to be our penultimate to the penultimate one. We've decided to go in ascending order of seniority in the band. It'll be you, then Mickey, then Bobby.
Got it.
I think that's apt.
I do too.
John, we've been watching this whole thing since Cornell, and my mind has been blown one time after another. We have to get on the air after the first set of each of these shows and run down the set and say something, and then give a plug for Nugs, and then introduce our thing. And we ran out of superlatives a week or two ago, and we have just had every show has just had more fun stuff, and especially to my taste, some real surprises like those Dark Star Big River mashups and stuff like that. That's what I signed up for, man.
Yeah, there's been so much exploring and experimenting with the forms of things that I myself don't know where we're going to head. All I know is that once we start aiming there and make a little bit of traction heading there, I'm tasked with making sure we get there, you know? And what's been great about this run in particular is that the peak moments of each show have less to do with any one instrumentalist's contribution and more to do with the entire band moving like a flock of birds at the same time.
Yes.
From one place to another. That's been really, really fun. We've all heard all the solos that we need to hear out of me in terms of these standalone things where you go, wow, that guy knows how to play the guitar. Did it, got it, great. What's really interesting now is this band telepathically just all turning at the same time. And there are times I walk off stage and I go, I got to hear that thing back because I don't know how we got there or exactly what it was, but I remembered how it made me feel and I want to go listen to it. And I could actually tell you what some of these things were if you're interested in. So I had this idea early in the tour to go from to go from Sugar Magnolia into Scarlet Begonias because they're very similar, sort of Sugar Magnolia, and then go into Sunshine Daydream. And we didn't quite hit it the first time that we did it. And Matt Bush, Bob's right-hand man, said, we'll try it again in Boulder. And so I believe it was Boulder that we did it. I could be, no, it was earlier than Boulder. No, was it Boulder? It was Boulder.
It doesn't matter. It's all one big song.
Boulder Night One. And Bob started singing Sunshine Daydream at the end of Scarlet Begonias before we moved in to Sunshine Daydream. And you can hear, I listened back to it this morning. You can hear Jeff go, not yet. Because Bob started going, Sunshine Day. And I went up to Bob and I said, keep doing it. This is incredible. I go, keep singing it. So Bob starts singing Sunshine Daydream over Scarlet Begonias. And each band member, one at a time, almost a bar or two apart, start moving from the Scarlet Begonias pile. I'm getting chills when I say this.
Yes.
Sunshine Daydream pile. And I got on the bus. I'm literally racked with chills right now. I wrote, that was the greatest transition we'd ever played. What it sounded like was that you were in you had fallen asleep during Sugar Magnolia and dreamed Scarlet Begonia. And then Bob was singing Sunshine Daydream and it was waking you up from the Scarlet Begonia's dream back into Sunshine Daydream. And it was one of the most transcendent things I'd ever heard. And there was a bit of apology after the show, like, hey, sorry. And I go, no, that was the most brilliant thing I'd ever heard us do. And it will go down in history for me as the #1 transition of all time.
It is it's so much fun to have this conversation with you because Gary and I and our cohort have been having that kind of conversation for 60 years now.
Yeah.
That's what we came for. That's what I signed up for. That thing of playing two musics at once, you know, and why I was there, I was watching and I was listening and I wasn't sure what you said to Bob. It's great that you told us what you said to Bob.
Keep saying it.
But yeah, but we also saw that everybody one by one falling into it, and that's the shit, man. That's what we came for.
It went from long held notes to staccato to the breaks, but one person at a time went into it, and it was this crossfade where by the time everyone was, it was just like waking up from a dream, and then I believe the night 2 we just played at the Gorge. We did a St. Stephen that was so R&B and crisp, and the notes were like they had this bop to it, this R&B bop to it that was just wild. It was wild. And of course, the Dark Star Big River, that was Bob's idea. Someone said, well, can we do that? And to Bob's credit, he was like, let's find out. And that's the spirit that I'll take with me for the rest of my life is, I don't know, let's try it out. Like what's
right.
the...
And I was saying, I was at the side of stage for that, the first night of the instrumental Dark Star Big River mashup.
Mhm.
And that got sharpied onto the set list during drums.
Yes, we had talked about that.
Yeah,
during
yeah.
drums. Let's just go for it.
Yeah. And while we are visiting the pantheon of mind-blowing transitions, we just talked about this with Oteil on our radio show the other night. During Here Comes Sunshine, at the Gorge, this thing developed, which is like a double time gospel feel. And Jeff just started laying on the really churchy chords, and Oteil was playing like a Baptist bass player all of a sudden.
Yep.
And Jay was especially hitting on the backbeat really hard. And Oteil totally forgot what song you were playing. He told us that
he wrote to the group chat afterwards that was like a peak moment for him.
Yeah, and then just when that thing, when it was reaching its ultimate hallelujah, somebody, I think it was Jeff, gave the signal to go back into da 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 da, and the transition was as though you had been rehearsing it for weeks. It was so sharp.
And we sort of have it just learning each other's instincts. When this band started, Bob's cues physically, his gestures would be so broad, and they had to be broad. Okay, now I can see it in his eyes.
Yeah,
I know when it's time. He'll just look, and I go, all right, back to the microphone. Seldom, I mean, rarely you'll misread it or something, but most of the time it's just, all right, and we just know to go into the downbeat of something,
Well, I've also seen it signal just entirely in the music. I was noticed, Bob will play like 2 notes from the next thing, and everybody will hear it, and then eight beats later, everybody goes there because the signal was given just in the flow of the music. This is what we've been touting this to the world for this whole time. And you guys I'm so glad to hear you discussing specifics.
Yeah.
Because this is what we've been listening for. And I thank you.
Of course. Yeah, no, thank you. And a couple of things to say about that. Number one, I think in the back of our minds at the Gorge, certainly was the first time I had thought about it, like, oh, we're certainly playing some of these songs for the last time. We don't know exactly which ones they are, but I have a feeling that was the last Here Comes Sunshine, given the sort of frequency. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have some special requests from people in the band and go, hey, let me get one more shot at this song or that song. But I'm not sure what songs they are, but I know there are some that we've turned our final performances in of. And if those are them, I can live with that. I mean, some of these final takes on these songs might actually purposefully have this kind of emphatic different take on them as we kind of look around going, it's the Mary Tyler Moore shut off the light thing for some of these songs. And that's such a dated reference now. It's old. It's even before my time and I know it. So 25 years old, the end of the Mary Tyler Moore show, she looks around the empty apartment and she turns off the show. One more thing that I was going to say about when I first started in this band, I have a very honest ear. I'm a very honest coach of my own playing. Doesn't mean I play well all the time, but I definitely know what's going on. I remember being happy when I got like 30 seconds of what I considered to be a really good flow on the guitar. And I could hear it. I'd go, whoa, those 30 seconds, those are real. The rest, I'm not even on the horse. And as the tours progressed every year, the length of time that I could grab air for just got longer and longer. And I remember in 19 being like, whoa, that was a really good Mississippi half step into Peggy O. Those two really got that. And then I would fall off the horse again by my own estimation. And on this tour, and I speak for everyone in the band now, we just drop in and the air takes us. And there's very few times where I'm getting hit in the head by the boxing gloves because my hands are. now, this being the final tour, I'm so lucky that this is the one that I get to take home with me and say, that's where for most of the time, night 3, set 2, you get enough of your own guitar playing and you kind of have to fly by instrument. But for most of the time on this tour, I have been very happy with the honest intention of my playing. It's not been any more like, what do I play here? It's silence, and it's playing whatever feels like the song calls for. And if that's the final exam for me, boy, am I glad that it was on this run, because I don't think I'm gonna be driving down the street a year from now listening to one of these shows going, God, get me back in there. I could do it different. I think there's been I finally got to, I think I got to a place where I'm thinking slow. I'm thinking slow. And I think as a musician, even if you play fast, if you're thinking slow, you've made it. And I think in the beginning, I was a bit of a nervous thinker. Okay, solo's coming up. Where do I go? At this point, I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm just going to speak. And all that time together as a band and all the number of times I've played the music has just informed that sense of ease and slow thinking and playing. You got the whole night to solo. And I've actually really enjoyed certain songs that are known for being a little flamethrowery on the guitar, being early in set 1 and purposely saying like, hey, let's do a deal that doesn't light the place on fire. Because I actually like Grateful Dead deals that were a bit more song-like.
The earlier ones.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Like anything in the first 4 or 5 songs of the first set, I like things being there that if they were later on in the show, they'd have more pyrotechnics. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I also would say that even when you put it in the early, like nothing is getting there. Everything is played with enthusiasm and energy and intensity. And you're saying that putting Deal earlier in the set means it doesn't have that end of set blowout energy, but it's still amazingly well played. And
yes, it's like, even more fun sometimes. Without the sort of, I don't know, without this expected jumping Johnny. Let's go for a home run. Like the home run is performing the song and the spirit of the song in a really groovy, thoughtful way. And then later on in the set, I think Bob's come to trust me now that there's a couple times in the set, I'll hit all the guitar pedals and shoot for the moon. And then I'll go back. I now totally understand the set as the organism.
Yeah.
Two long sets. I understand now the organism of it and how it all is one thing, and you're crafting an entire night. So I'll walk backstage sometimes after set 1 and not really have quite opened up the throttle on anything, but know that that's what set 2 is for and that we are primed for set 2. Now I know set 1, yeah, if you got in the car and left after set 1, you could make a judgment on it. But that set 1 is still this fluid thing that has yet to be judged because set 2 hasn't happened yet. And then when set 2 is rendered, then you understand what set 1 was.
Because it's all one, it's a whole thing. In the same way that the band is more than the individual player. And that's why the real magic of this is when everybody's creating this thing together. Just like it says over my shoulder, Dad, the groove is what we all create together.
Yep.
And it's, it's also, you don't get out from the table after the salad course.
That's right.
You want to lay out the whole sumptuous meal and, and get to the dessert and the aperitifs and all that. But one thing that has struck me about this band really sets you apart from anyone else who's playing on this level of having to, really excite a stadium full of people, is that there hasn't been that kind of fan service that says, we're going to play what's familiar and comforting to you on these songs, and the players aren't playing necessarily what is familiar and comforting to one another. It's like each player in the band is saying, okay, what can I play that'll push this guy to do something different? And because of the capabilities of the newer players in the band, that helps inform the music. Like I was one of the all-time great sugaries happened a few shows ago, but I've said that about several sugaries on this show.
Mhm.
And I said, this is transformed from a great folk rock kind of song into a great soul song.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. So
And it always had a soul song aspect to it. I mean, the chord changes were always like King Curtis's Soul Serenade anyway, but the way the underpinnings of the song have changed because of Oteil and because of Jay and because of Jeff, it brings out that side of it. And there are songs in the Grateful Dead canon that felt, you know, maybe Broke Down Palace felt more like a nice Protestant hymn, and now it's more of a gospel song.
yes.
You know what I mean?
I had a very distinct conversation about Sugary with Jay and mostly Jay, but also, you know, Jeff and Oteil. And I said, when it comes to Sugary, so this is about 2 Sugaries ago, for using the song as a chronological measurement.
Right.
I said, don't follow my vocal. Find that groove from the beginning of the song and don't play along to my vocal. Be the engine behind that. Let me sing behind the beat, all around the beat, wherever I want to go. Don't play along with me.
Ah.
Be the engine room. No matter what happens, if my vocal gets slower, don't come to my vocal, because I'm going to want to play against the time of that really set beat. And that's what's made it sing now, that I can take a break. That's still going.
Yeah.
And I could be late on the vocal and it's not a cue to slow it down. And now I can really sing it like a soul tune. And I even love the breakdown after the big sort of hits now. There's this great moment where I'm just going, boom.
Yeah.
Yes. Just the most recent one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens when you know you have each other's trust and you know that the centrifuge of the thing is there. Yeah.
And I thought of BB King during that, the way he would, after an incendiary solo, just like it would fall away to almost nothingness, and he'd put in like these little stings, you know.
Put the guitar by his side and say, you know,
yeah. Hey, I hate to say it, but we have run out of time here.
Oh man.
We have to turn it back over to the live musicians on stage at Oracle Park.
Yes, of course, this does not negate the big debrief. The one we're going to have on the radio, that we'll probably lock ourselves in the studio and not let anybody else in, and like extend the show for several hours, because that's going to be a big one. That's got to cover this tour. It's got to cover 8 years. It's got to cover everything.
I think it would be therapeutic for people. I think I would need it too. We're it's like everyone, we have to all break each other's fall from this.
Yes,
you know.
Well,
indeed.
We'll be happy to help talk you down, buddy.
Thank you very much, fellas, and have fun. And I guess I'm going back on stage right now.
Yes, you are. Despite
I'm coming. You're right there.
Despite the fact that your surroundings do not look anything like Oracle Park in San Francisco, but that's just the way miracles work, John.
We'll fix it in post. Guys.
Thank you
Thanks,
again.
man.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for everything, John.
Thank you. Bye.
back door someday. Or the sun gonna shine in my back door someday. Watch me gonna blow all my trouble away. Lord, I wish I was a headlight on a northbound train. Lord, I wish I was a headlight on a northbound train. Well, I shine my light through the cool Colorado rain. gonna make